Nation, it is Thursday. My name's Philip DeFranco, and let's talk about the news of top stuff and things that mattered on the interwebs today. Nation, let's talk about Representative Michelle Bachmann, otherwise known as Crazy Eyes. Reason being is recently it was learned that Michelle Bachmann is refusing to pay 5 staffers who worked on her presidential campaign until they signed non-disclosure agreements. This would prohibit them from talking to police or reporters about, unethical, immoral, criminal activities, really anything. And I say unethical, immoral, or criminal because, the staffers are starting to talk because they didn't get paid. Like her former field coordinator, Peter Waldron. He alleges that the campaign concealed payments to Iowa State campaign chairman Kent Sorensen, a state senator who abruptly left Michelle Bachmann's campaign and joined Ron Paul's. He's also accusing the campaign of improperly dipping into Michelle PAC to pay longtime fundraising consultant Guy Short for presidential campaign work he performed in the critical final weeks ahead of Iowa caucuses last year. Waldron also went on to talk about the not illegal but the very creepy sounding debate coach, saying that the debate coach essentially had Bachmann mind controlled and forbade her and did not allow her to sleep with her husband in the same room while she was on the campaign trail. But the thing is, Michelle, what are you doing? You're supposed to take care of the people that take care of you. You especially take care of the people that take care of you and also know things that could potentially ruin you, even though I don't know how you have not been ruined just by yourself yet. Like, I wouldn't trust you with a pair of scissors, let alone give you a vote on things that could potentially matter. Like, I'll back you in a creepy lady staring contest, but I don't want the lady that thinks that storms are caused by God. I don't want that person in a power position. Now, next up, there's movie news that I'm kind of embarrassed about. A while ago, I talked about the movie Spring Breakers that stars Vanessa Hudgens, Selena Gomez. In my mind, I was like, oh, it's gonna be this poppy princess, let's go on spring break and crazy hijinks ensue. Maybe one of us is a princess, who knows? Turns out, no, in no way is it that movie. It has 4 college girls. They want to go on spring break, but they don't have the money, so they do what any 4 college girls would do: arm themselves with guns, rob a restaurant, and then go on spring break. Until they're arrested but bailed out by drug dealer James Franco, because James Franco is in every movie. Also, James Franco has a grill. Double also, the entire movie is scored by Skrillex, because why not? And here's what it all looks like.
Bikinis and big booties, y'all, that's what life is about.
I just have a really, really bad feeling about this.
Let's cause some trouble now.
Break, bitches!
Spring break forever.
Now, something that does concern me is the trailer literally ends on spring break forever, which is a line so bad that you question anything awesome you previously saw. Also, for the people arguing that this movie is female empowerment, I wouldn't say so. I mean, a female empowerment movie probably wouldn't, involve scantily clad women. I see no, pro-woman things when, a female superhero is, for some reason, her costume is, a G-string. But all that being said, I'm gonna watch that movie. I have a thing for women in power positions. Then on really crazy news, you might have heard about this helicopter crash that happened in Britain yesterday around 8 a.m. their time. It resulted in 2 people dying, 12 people injured. The pictures are crazy. But today, sources say the death count should have actually been 4 had it not been for 2 men oversleeping. Those 2 men, Richard Mule and Nicky Baggioni. Both men should have been in the cabin of the crane that police say was torn through a piece of paper by the helicopter. Now, the accident itself is a terrible situation, but it does make you think, 1, that's some Final Destination stuff, and 2, I don't believe in fate or divine intervention, but life's timing is insanity. To this day, one of the most interesting instances of this was September 11th, 2001. Seth MacFarlane was actually supposed to be on American Airlines Flight 11. Seth MacFarlane's travel agent told him the flight was leaving at 8:15, but it was actually scheduled at 7:45, and he was late anyways because he overslept because he was crazy hungover, and he missed boarding the flight by minutes. But I guess the main point is that is life. You never really know. Never ever, but that's kind of what makes it so special. And Nation, the last thing I'm going to talk about today, and easily the most requested thing you guys want me to chime in on, is the Manti Te'o story. Is that how you pronounce his name? I don't really care. Manti is a football player for the Fighting Irish, good old Notre Dame. And the reason being is Manti apparently had this girlfriend who had died of leukemia, and it turns out she wasn't a real person. Supposedly, Manti and this girl meet after a Stanford game in 2009. They stay friends for a while until early 2012. They become boyfriend and girlfriend. Then at some point in 2012, she gets into a car accident that almost kills her. But soon after, doctors realize that his girlfriend has leukemia. But luckily, she gets better. Then September 11th, 2012 is actually a bad day for Manti because his grandmother dies. And then what's worse is 24 hours later, his girlfriend dies of leukemia. Or is it 3 days later, like the New York Post thinks? Or is it 4 days later, which is what ESPN and CBS reported? But all of this seems to supercharge Manti as he gets 15 tackles against Michigan State. On September 22nd, 2012, he misses his girlfriend's funeral because she would not have wanted him to miss a game. Then to save time, it just keeps spiraling more and more out of control. This girl that he apparently was a girlfriend with is on TV. Then a woman's calling up and she's like, why is my picture picture from Facebook on TV saying I'm dead. Deadspin.com just breaks the story wide open about this being a fraud. Notre Dame literally has to have a press conference about a dead girl who isn't a real person, which I kind of love because they had a press conference for a fake dead girl. Like, they're taking a fake dead girl way more serious than a girl accusing their players of rape. Like a real girl accusing real players of rape. But that's a whole other video. And what we have today is a lot of confusion, but several options of what really went down. Whether it be because ever since American Idol came out, people realized like, oh, it doesn't matter if I'm just talented. I have to have talent and a traumatic, terrible backstory. That's the only way I'll win the Heisman. Or what some sites have said is, you know, Manti's actually an attractive looking guy. He could get girls if he want. What if this is because he's gay? Which would be a terribly sad reason to do so. But that's if he's in on it. The other option is that he was catfished, which honestly I do find partially believable, and that is what Manti is saying happened now. He released a statement saying, "This is incredibly embarrassing to talk about, but over an extended period of time, I developed an emotional relationship with a woman I met online. We maintained what I thought to be an authentic relationship by communicating frequently online and on the phone. I grew to care deeply about her. To realize that I was the victim of what was apparently someone's sick joke and constant lies was and is painful and humiliating." He goes on to explain himself further, but then it brings up the questions, well, what about all the things where you said you met her? That she visited him in Hawaii several times? There are all these contradictory statements. Well, the obvious thing is that he lied, but it's a question of, was he in on it or was he being punked? And honestly, it could go either way. Now, personally, I have sympathy for the guy. I mean, the entire internet's making fun of him. Taoing is a thing where you pose with your fake girlfriend. All your personal business is just out there. And about a third of you know this. Like, I've been a victim of this in my past. 6 years ago, I thought I knew this girl, Megan, on the internet, and she lived in New York, and I drove up to New York to room with her, and turned out her and her 15 friends on Facebook were not real. And being in that vulnerable position, yeah, I told people, oh yeah, we totally met in person, we've hung out, we've met. Out of fear that I would be judged for my long distance, never met, doesn't have a webcam girlfriend. Now keep in mind that was 6 years ago, where every laptop didn't have a webcam. The tech is slightly different. And if that was the case and he lied and then it turned into this big thing and it blew out of proportion, then I have sympathy for him. If it's the other case, then no, screw that guy. But a question to you, nation. What do you think it is? Do you think he was in on it? That he was just messed with? Any thoughts on it? Leave a comment down below, video response, whatever you want to say. I mean, I'm just thankful that none of that happened in the limelight. Like, no one would have cared at that time. And if you want to know more about my story, I talked about it at DeFranco Does Dublin, link to that down below. Just pure craziness. And remember to possibly get a PDS monkey tea. Leave a comment down below, join the conversation, maybe hit the like button, favorite if you really like it. But of course, as always, my name's Philip DeFranco. You've just been filled in. I love your faces, and I'll see you Sunday.